and welcome to the Midweek Mashed Tattie Sportscast. This is MMA Mash, the weekly mixed martial arts roundup that features all the latest news and reviews from UFC, the One Championship, Bellator, PFL, and so much more. My name is, of course, Mick. As always, I'm joined at cage side by the man that's more question and answer. It's Mr. Paul Kerr.
Oh, hi. How we doing?
And the ever controversial is Mr. Harvey Smith.
Sup, dog?
Brat, brat.
For those hard of seeing, Harvey tapped his chest twice and then made a peace. Of course, that's everybody listening to a podcast who can't really see what's going on.
Oh, God.
How are we, lads? We're back for a couple of weeks off.
Hiatus is happening everywhere, isn't there, really?
Aye.
I was in that big a hiatus that I forgot to return for the hiatus last night. So I am working off of zero knowledge this week, which is bloody brilliant in an MMA podcast. I've watched a lot of documentaries though. On fire.
Maybe you can
That'll make up.
maybe you can give us some chat for the documentaries you've been watching at the end.
Ask me about Anatomy of a Fighter. Ask me about TJ Dillashaw. I can tell you everything, man. Everything.
So on the show today, we're gonna do a wee roundup of Saturday night's boxing action. We're gonna talk about the UFC from Saturday night. We had UFC Vegas something. I've not wrote the number down. That was clever. But there was a UFC in Vegas.
Something.
And then we're going to look ahead to next week for us, this weekend for you if you're listening on release day. We've got some action coming up on Friday night and Saturday night. And I think towards the end what we'll do is we'll maybe spend a wee bit of time doing some predictions for the weekend's fights. That might be something different. So, without further ado, let's get it on. So, kicking it off with the boxing. So, it was a busy night, Saturday night for boxing. We had the rematch between Devin Haney and George Kambosos Jr. for the lightweight titles, I do believe. Then we had Deontay Wilder versus Robert Helenius for a wee one-hitter quitter in Brooklyn, New York. And then we had, selling out the London O2, we had Clarissa Shields versus Savannah Marshall. So I want to talk a wee bit about Shields Marshall, but before we hit that, any thoughts on the other two fights?
Well, specifically on the Deontay Wilder fight, I'd just like to ask what the point is in Robert Helenius as a top level fighter, other than to be a prop dummy to just knock over.
Well,
because the punch to me looked like a shove in the face, and this man dropped like he'd seen the black dog. Where was the power in that punch?
Well, I think a lot of the power came from a combination of Helenius like basically running into it and then the speed for Wilder. But it certainly wasn't his most powerful punch he's ever threw.
It was barely a jab.
It was more the timing and the fact that Helenius didn't see it coming because he was too busy running.
I mean, good on Wilder. Like, I think for the 2 minutes that he was in there, he looked very good. Looked again very mobile again. Ash, was he debatable? I mean, mobile by Wilder's standards versus mobile as an actual top level boxer is a totally different thing.
He looked in better shape, right? He's lost a wee bit weight again. He's back to his kind of
I noticed that he's lighter again, isn't he?
He was moving on his feet better, right? A wee bit faster on his feet, a wee bit lighter on his feet, which probably a lot of that is because he's in better condition. He's dropped a wee bit of weight. But I can't see much improvement in his actual boxing skills, if I'm being honest. It just looked like the same old Wilder. So,
aye.
I mean, take for that what you will. Like, he's probably very capable with picking the right fights, he's probably very capable of getting back to title shot contention pretty soon. There is chat, the WBC basically forcing a fight between him and Andy Ruiz Jr.
I mean, that would be
and then
fun to watch, by the way.
That would name a number one contender for Fury's WBC title.
Right. I mean, I'm not totally against that, by the way. That is actual... I immediately want to watch that just because of who it is, because you know with Ruiz Jr. there's an exciting fighter there. I mean, obviously he's a draw because of how he looks, because he's a big, heavy, chunky boy, man. But yet he's got a bit of the skill about him, and then Wilder with his nuclear option makes him a very interesting sort of draw as well. So all for that, by the way.
It's one of the more interesting fights out there for Wilder. I'm not convinced he'll be, massively willing to go for that.
I mean, it's a dangerous option, isn't it? Because Ruiz has a lot of skill and a lot of power on his own.
Andy Ruiz could make him look stupid. It's a possibility.
He's an actual boxer. Like it's very deceptive in how he looks, because he's big and just looks like a big fat guy. Folk think, oh well, he can't be any good, but he's very unusual.
He's a fluffy fellow.
Aye.
So I don't know. We'll see if that one comes to fruition. I'll
cross my fingers for
that. But I'd certainly be more interested in seeing that than just seeing Wilder fight bums. I mean, no offence to Helenius, like he had a good record, on paper, but
it's one of the records that's kind of padded out by nobody's, though, isn't it?
Like he's not a top level talent.
Aye.
Haney Cambosis, I haven't yet watched that one. A wee bit too much on for me to see everything. But from what I've read, it was a very convincing performance for Devin Haney on fight night. Sweep the scorecards, unanimous decision. Very comfortable decision over in Australia, that was.
So that was in Australia this time, right?
He's very much cemented himself as the undisputed champ there. So the question there is whether or not Lomachenko can get away for whatever he's doing to help the effort in Ukraine and get himself in shape for a fight there, or whether or not Haney just moves on to other things for the time being, because that's the biggest fight for him in that division. And it's, as I mentioned to you, Paul, off air, I don't know how much longer Haney can be at lightweight. I think he has to look at going up in weight pretty soon.
It's maybe time for him to look at being heavier.
A lot of weight, so another one to keep an eye on. I do wonder.
There's some we've spoke about on here many a time, that you've only got a certain amount of time that you can get away with weight cutting in such an extreme way before it eventually catches up in your body. So hopefully for the sake of his career above all else,
for the sake of his health and career, probably time to start thinking about moving up. I mean, the good thing with boxing is it's pretty easy to move up. You know what I mean? Like there's plenty of options in terms of weight classes.
Divisions. Aye.
And the thing with him, he's only 23, so now
he's young.
He's in that.
If he plays his cards right, he's got a long career ahead of him. Yep.
Oh, aye. And like now, is you can easily just put muscle on, like build muscle, and step up the weight divisions in the right way. Do you know what I mean?
He's no huge, but he's got a big enough frame that he can go up a weight class or two pretty comfortably. If he
do you see what you mean with the weight cut pictures? My God. It's described as 50 Cent.
Very gaunt looking. Very gaunt looking when he weighs it.
Aye. I just like 50 Cent in that film, man, where he plays somebody with cancer. That's jeez. Right enough, he's definitely meant to be a bigger boy.
I remember the ominous chuckle.
I'm just looking. Looks like a fucking crackhead.
Oh Christ! You want to see how Cambosis looked as well. He did not look good at the weigh-ins. He was another one, man.
Aye.
Aye.
Oh, no, I'm looking at him now.
Doing some shit, man. So, the women. It was an all-female card at the O2 in London. Looking to build on the big showdown between Katie Taylor, Amanda Serrano at the Madison Square Gardens during the summer. And mission accomplished, man. Sold out the O2. Some cracking fights on the card, on the undercard, and then that main event, Clarissa Shields, Savannah Marshall, 100% lived up to the hype. It was an absolute cracker. It was a really good fight, really interesting fight, non-stop action, start to finish. Very, very good, man. Clarissa Shields just too good, basically. Too good for Marshall. Every fight, I mean, I've not seen Savannah Marshall fight that many times, but each fight that I've seen her in, she gets progressively more and more like a Fury.
Oh, right, aye.
So Peter Fury is our head coach.
Right, okay. Now that I didn't know.
So I think like her last 3 or 4 fights, he's been our head coach, something like that. It's like a handful of fights she's been with him now. And she, like, if you watch that fight with Clarissa Shields, she was very similar in her approach to how Tyson Fury boxes a lot of the time. That kind of slightly hunched over posture, shoulders in to kind of give the chin a bit of cover, plodding forward with a sort of pawing jab, just touching the opponent, active, walking them into the ropes. Just that same sort of bullying style.
So I kind of ring bully, effectively kind of try to impose yourself ever so slightly as the fight goes on and on and on.
Yep. It seemed to be that the game plan was to basically bully Clarissa Shields, stop her for using her footwork and her speed and movement, and kind of tire her out as the fight wore on so that she could land more and more of her power shots. So obviously Marshall's got KO power. She's a very heavy hitter. But Clarissa Shields was just too good, man. Anytime Marshall hesitated, Clarissa Shields would just unload with like 4, 5, 6 punch combos. Just going, working body and head, just quality, top shelf boxing, just high skill stuff, man. Great head movement. At times, willing Marshall in, signal her to come in, just standing against the ropes and not quite rope-a-dope, but you know what I mean, like she just like playing her at her own game. It's like, you want to bully me? Like, let's go. And it was effectively like she let Marshall tire herself out with trying to put pressure on her, and it just wasn't one for her. Masterful performance for Shields.
Fair play, man. What does this do for women's boxing though? What's the next big thing now, as far as you're concerned? Obviously, we've had these 2 massive cards that have been headlined by women's boxing. What's next?
So what's next is Katie Taylor defending her titles next week.
Oh, that's right, geez, that is very convenient.
So
that was easy.
I'd be looking for that to be another really good fight. There'll be a lot of eyes on it, I would imagine now, especially for like the boxing media and stuff.
So that's going to help.
There already was. Katie Taylor's fights are always a big deal, or at least for the last kind of 5, 6 fightings, because she's her name's just kind of took off, man. She's a star now. So I would look for that to do well, and if that's a fun fight, and if she retains her titles, then from there it's looking to build on that next year. Potential rematch with Amanda Serrano for Katie Taylor. That would be another big fight to book, and there's the potential, no guarantees, but there's the potential for a rematch between Clarissa Shields and Savannah Marshall, but in America this time.
Ah, right, okay, taking over there.
So it could be another like Madison Square Garden card. I mean, if I don't know how hard it would be to put together, but if it was possible, put the 2 fights on the same card, headline in Madison Square Garden.
Right, okay, aye.
That would be ridiculous.
Because that's what I was wondering. Aye,
probably no doable, but if if all the different promoters could come together and make that happen, that would be epic.
Aye.
I don't know. I don't think that'd be hard.
It's unlikely.
Like what about pushing a co-main event with a male sort of kind of blockbuster fight where I don't know if it's something like one of the heavyweight fights kind of comes up and the women's kind of whatever rematch it is coming up, or whether it's Shields and Savannah Marshall. That goes as a co-main event and it's something like a stadium. Yeah, do you see that as being a good move, or do you see that as kind of sidelining it?
I think that would be a good step. I mean, I think it would be safer to continue with doing the biggest fights possible in the women's divisions and having them be the headline of them, all eyes on them sort of thing. But in terms of next steps for there, then the step up would be, rather than going back to being on undercards and being lost in the shuffle, make them a big deal as a co-main, co-headliner, put them on all the billboards, sell at a stadium.
Like, I don't see why that isn't a thing. Like, obviously UFC kind of lead with that now, where there's always a women's fight on the main card. Like, I don't see why boxing avoided that. Well, most of the time there's a women's fight in the main. Like, a lot of times there is women's fights in the main card, especially the numbered sort of pay-per-views with UFC. Like, you'll always, whether it's kind of just below the main event or the main event or opening fight, whatever, you do always see women's fights in amongst the men's fights. Is the point that I'm trying to get to. But no so much with boxing really that I've ever noticed, where you'll see like maybe a fight or two before whatever the main event is. I think
the big bother is that traditionally with boxing, you have a main event, that's the fight,
and that's it.
And that's it. The undercard is just there to warm up the audience. It's like having a comedian been on tour and have somebody local come in to warm up the crowd.
I get what you're saying.
Even sometimes it's bloody title fights. You know what I mean? There's guys or women on the undercard fighting for world titles, and it's barely talked about. It's just it's one of these stupid things about boxing, man.
Do you think boxing should take a wee bit of a lesson from mixed martial arts in that sense? Is that somewhere obviously, in my opinion, is somewhere mixed martial arts really leads boxing on?
I think we're starting to see some of it. Just unfortunately not at the kind of upper echelons of the sport. But when you've got the likes of like DAZN and stuff like that, where they're putting on a show, like they're making as many big fights as possible in the one night. They'll be, whether it's like one of these kind of more celebrity type things or whatever it might be, but they'll have a theme for the show, as it were. You know what I mean? And they'll cater to the audience. So like whoever's going to turn out for the main event, they want an undercard that the audience is also going to be excited to see, if that makes sense. They're going with that kind of approach. It's a wee bit more like what the UFC tend to do. I think that the issue just comes down to the fact that the way boxing's divided, and like fighters have their own promoters, and then the promoters have to co-promote a show, and then they need to do a broadcast deal, and then like they've got their sort of wants and demands, and you've got to cater to the governing bodies, and like
it's very convoluted.
It's just a shit show.
There's
a lot too many mouths that need fed. That's the problem.
Yep. Too many chefs in the kitchen, too many hungry birds chirping away. It's just an absolute clusterfuck every time. What it needs is like the likes of Showtime, DAZN, whatever, like whatever the broadcast partner is, have them become the promoter. So then, rather than all these guys that are trying to co-promote plus the deals with broadcasters and this and that, it's just one entity promotes a card. No promotes a fight, promotes a card. So then it's the equivalent of having multiple UFCs and Bellators going on.
Aye.
So it's still fragmented. It's not as streamlined as MMA is, but at the same time, it would be a step up for where they're at now, man.
Aye, hell of a lot better.
I mean, that presents its own problems, I suppose, which we could go into another day if we want to get the time. But
I appreciate it's a deep subject.
it's a headache, is what it is, man. But back on point, Shields Marshall was phenomenal. It was legitimately a fight of the year contender. It was a really, really fun fight, non-stop action, high level skills on show, and that's just starting to become the norm for women's boxing. You know what I mean? Like they've got to the point where they are legit world class boxers, and gender doesn't matter. You know what I mean? It's not even about that. I mean, there's still subsets of fans where, for whatever reason, they'll really go in for women's boxing over men's boxing for one reason or another. And there are some who just won't watch it. You know what I mean? They don't want to see women fighting. That's still a thing as well.
Aye,
which is a shame.
It's still that attitude, aye.
It's still there. But we're at a point where you could have a card be half men, half women, have it be mixed in whatever order, and it doesn't need to be like a big song and dance that, oh my god, there's women fighting, let's make sure the media's covering it. Like, they're just world class boxers. You know what I mean? Doesn't need to be that division. So I think it would be it's time to start having the conversations around the length of the rounds and the number of rounds. So obviously they're still doing their 2-minute rounds rather than 3, and title fights are 10 rounds rather than 12. So everybody's gonna, not everybody, but there'll be many different opinions out there. Me personally, I think they should be doing the same as the men. I don't think there's any reason for them not to be. I don't
understand that either. I've got to be honest. Why 10 instead of 12? But
on the flip side, it does mean that more often than no, you get fast, action-packed fights because it's shorter rounds.
I suppose you've less time to prove yourself, don't you? So you go for it.
Aye. Pros and cons as always. But that's enough of that now. Great fight. More to come for the women, as I say. Katie Taylor's fight next weekend. So, moving on, let's talk some MMA. So, now let me just actually pull up the number. That would be a wise thing to do. So, we had UFC Vegas 62. UFC Vegas 62 it was. So, it was headlined by Alexa Grasso and Viviane Araújo. And it was no bad night of fights. It's about as positive as I'll get. There was, 2 or 3 really good fights, great finishes, mixed in with no bad fights, basically. It's a rare occasion where, unfortunately, during the main event, around about the 3rd round, I think it was 3rd round and 4th round, I totally switched off, man. I lost interest, which isn't great.
Jeez.
You know what I mean? When a diehard fan's losing interest in the main event, something's went awry. It's one of the things. We'll come back to that. Let's quickly run through the card. So the opener for the night was Pete Rodriguez defeating Mike Jackson. It was a good performance for Rodriguez. Big knockout. Started with a very well timed knee, and then finished him on the ground with a couple of shots. Mike Jackson is the guy who is famed for being a journalist, I guess you would call him, who had amateur fights, and then he was signed to UFC to be cannon fodder for CM Punk.
Aye, that's why I made the noise. I thought I recognised that name.
He went on to beat CM Punk as CM Punk flushed out of MMA. And then he then also went to then go and pop in a drugs test. I think it was just for weed or something. It wasn't like he was doped to the eyeballs and steroids or anything, but nevertheless, he failed the test, so that fight got overturned in a contest.
Really says a lot for CM Punk's MMA ability that a guy can smoke a wee doobie and then dive in there and beat him. nice and chilled. It just controls him.
So then the guy disappeared to the face of the earth for a couple of years, and then he re-emerged earlier this year, won a fight because if I remember rightly, I think he got poked in the eye and couldn't continue, and the other guy got disqualified. I think that's how it went.
Right.
He's not had a great run. So then, there's talk he's turned a corner and he's progressed in training, yada yada. And he got flattened in this fight. So I think that's probably him done with UFC.
Unsurprisingly.
He was just like, wait, I might be getting my fights mixed up here, but was he the one when he dropped? He was just like in a sitting position. He was just fucking completely done. Or am I thinking of a different fight?
You maybe.
I'm currently catching up on Todorovic.
So he was
writing that happens.
He was doing kind of amateurish head movement. It's like really pronounced and exaggerated side to side head movement. So Rodriguez picked up in that. Well, rather his team picked up in that and shouted to him, "What today?" So basically threw a left, jacked him the way down to his left to avoid it, and then he threw the right knee and sat him down, and then finished him with a couple of shots.
Aye, that's the one. He's just sitting there sparked, leg folded behind him, just up against the cage.
Aye.
Yep. Oh, aye.
Yep.
And he's sitting there smoking a spliff. Helps me pick my shots better, boys.
Freeze the mind.
Helps me fix my shots better, boys.
Outstanding. So round 1 KO. Moving on up, we had Tatsuro Taira defeating CJ Vergara. This one actually got a performance in the night bonus.
Is it no Tatsura?
What did I say?
Sorry, I think you said Tatsura, but
Sorry. I did.
Tats instead of tits, lads.
Tatsuro Taira. Tatsuro Taira. There you go.
Tatsura.
So it was a second round armbar submission win.
Aye.
And a wee bonus for Taira.
One of the angles looked like he was going to snap his forearm in half, man.
He had it locked in.
Aye.
It was tight.
Tight like a tiger.
Tight like a tiger.
What's that say?
He loves gold.
Austin Powers, isn't it?
Gold member.
Yes.
Oh god.
So then we had Piera Rodriguez defeating Sam Hughes, unanimous decision. Joe Anderson Brito defeating Lucas Alexander via rear naked choke submission, round 1.
That was funny.
It's funny.
Aye. When he got it locked in, like Alexander just dropped straight and poof, and he was still hard into him. He's just like, doof. I said, I just found it funny. I'm sorry, Alexander. Lucas, but
Harvey finds humour in people taking pain and discomfort.
Well, you should have tapped.
Tap on that, bro. Then we had Jacob Malkoon defeating Nick Maximoff, unanimous decision. I expected a bit more for that one, I've got to say. Basically, that one is Malkoon is like the understudy to Robert Whittaker, and then Maximoff's the understudy to the Diaz brothers.
Mm-hmm.
So the thing with that one was that I think first round, Maximoff, was it second round? Either first or second round, Maximoff picked up what I think is a knee injury. I've not seen exactly what the issue is, but I think it was his knee. He kept fighting, he toughed it out to the end, but it really limited him in what he was able to do. So I think it would have probably have been a more entertaining fight should he not have been injured, but that is the fight game. So wasn't the most exciting fight, but decent one for Malkoon. Eked out the unanimous decision. He's got quite a grappling heavy approach, but he does have a good bit of kind of promise about him, man. He's quite talented, so see where he goes. Then we had Mana Martinez defeating Brandon Davis via split decision. That one had its moments. Wasn't the best fight, wasn't the worst. Aye. There was a few exchanges in there that were pretty exciting and stuff. Moving on to the main card. Main card opened with Alonzo Manifield picking up a win over Misha Surkinoff. That one was a cracking KO, I've got to say. Big first round finish.
Hi, that was a good one. Where's that Surkinoff? He's for like Latvia or something, you know?
Misha
no,
Surkinoff.
Serbia. Misha Surkinoff. For some reason, is that? Fuck! Maybe I'm getting mixed up. But anyway, it was
Todorovic.
Aye, that's it. Aye. Yes.
Come back to him in a minute. Aye, so big first round KO for Manifield, man. He's an interesting character, him, man. He's like two different people. Like when he's fighting, he seems like an absolute like beast, man, just like a crazy person. And then once the fight's by, he's like really reserved and it's hard to get a word at him. Kind of odd. An odd character. Next up, we had Rafael Asanko defeating Victor Henry. Asanko, like, rewinding the clock, man. Turning the clock back. He looked really good in that fight. Victor Henry's a guy that's like had a ton of hype around him. Like there's 5 years, 10 years between them, whatever it was. So I like Victor Henry, even being the younger guy, less experienced, he was the favourite coming into the fight, so he was the betting favourite. But Asanko just like, I don't know, man. He just looked like he did 5-10 years ago. Looked really good.
Was Victor Henry Was Victor Henry the dude that was who was a trainer as well as a?
I believe so. Aye. He was a coach, and I think he came in as like a late replacement.
Aye.
Really impressed. So
what gorgeous head of hair he's got.
Aye, so he's no like, as much as he seems like a young prospect, he is like, I believe he is in his 30s.
35.
That's his.
But he's he's definitely the kind of younger, less sort of big fight time guy versus Asanko. But Asanko's seemingly like on his kind of farewell tour. He's starting to think about retirement, so it's like he might be kind of on his way to having like a final crack at trying to get some gold. We'll see how it goes. He'd just moved to a new camp. He'd started training at Randy Couture's place. What's it called? Extreme Couture in Vegas. So he's kind of reinvigorated himself. Right. Next we had Dusko Todorovic defeating Jordan Wright. This one got fight of the night. So this was tipped to be fight of the night. Like it was thought that this one was going to be a barn burner start to finish. What actually happened was Jordan Wright. Todorovic instigated a bit of grappling in the first round quite early on. So Jordan Wright thought, okay, let's just have a grappling match. And then turned it, like, transpired first round was pretty boring. Like, not much happened. Mostly grappling. And it was a bit meh. And the commentators were, like, apologising for talking it up as much and stuff. It's kind of funny. And then second round, Todorovic just comes out and starts swinging.
It looks like just chased him about the place for what I can see, man.
Yep,
literally
much, man.
Hunted him down.
One end of the cage to the other, back and forth. Jordan Wright, to his credit, tough as nails, he kept trying to swing back, but he just became a punching bag.
Looks pretty
beaten, man.
Pretty brutal, man. Aye.
So ultimately, 3 minutes and 12 seconds of round 2 TKO victory for Todorovic.
Right.
Just
in full mount rain and fire on him, man. Wow, man.
So he got they got fight of the night for that like second round alone, basically. It's like scratch the first round, forget that happened. I think it would have been. I think Todorovic gets some kind of props off the back of that. I think that does him well in terms of his career. But if he had done that in the first round, it would have been so much better for him, I think. Anyway, he looked good. So, I wonder what is next for him. Co-main event of the evening. Jonathan Martinez defeating Cobb Swanson. And this one was another performance of the night bonus. So Martinez, for his TKO victory, picks up a performance of the night bonus. This was Cobb Swanson's bantamweight debut. So he'd fought for a long time at featherweight, £145. This was him dropping to bantamweight, £135. And he looked pretty good. Seemed to make the weight somewhat comfortably. He seemed fast. Whether or not he still got the same power in his punches that he had at featherweight remains to be seen. But the story of the fight was the leg kicks for Martinez. This was a rare leg kick stoppage.
Oh, leg God, aye. Oh, wow. Oh, no wonder he kicks him into the air, man. Wow.
I've
never seen that before.
Like,
aye.
Just looks like he kicks him in the ankle and he's like, nah.
It's like something out of Street Fighter, man. You know how it doesn't matter what you do when you hit them at the end of a Street Fighter round, they just go, into the air. Like, he literally kicks him into the air with that leg kick. That is fuck. I don't know what that is fuck means, but that is fuck.
Interestingly, Cobb's leg wasn't like, it didn't look all bruised up. Usually when somebody's taking heavy fire on the leg kicks, the legs start to well up and you see
straight away.
It's like an eye going bloodshot. The legs just go kind of purple and nasty looking.
Aye.
But didn't seem to be happening for some reason. I've got no medical explanation, but they certainly seem to be hurting them. So that leads us on to the main event, which was a pretty one-sided affair. It was Alexa Grasso picking up a unanimous decision. Scorecards read as follows: 50-45, 49-46, and 49-46. So a fairly comfortable win for Grasso. And it wasn't exciting.
Wasn't exciting.
Started out decent, but I mean, literally when the fight ended, I was like, oh, right, it's bye, because I had totally zoned out. I think I picked up my phone and went on Twitter or something. Like, I completely and utterly zoned out after the third round because it was just the same thing over and over again. Aye, unfortunately, it is what it is. I think that like main event status kind of late. I'm not sure if a fight fell through. I can't actually think now, but I feel like that only became the main event 2 or 3 weeks ago.
I'm sure I did see there was fights cancelled on Google. Google did show up a couple of cancelled bouts.
Daniel Rodriguez, Neil Magny got cancelled.
Aye, that's what I'd see. Magny.
Askarov and thing to get cancelled and all.
Is Magny and Rodriguez big enough to main event that?
Aye.
Is it? Aye, is that? I know Magny's got a bit of name. Aye. I know Magny's.
Askarov.
Neil Magny's basically a legend at this point.
Aye.
Askarov and Brandon Royval. That's what it was.
They were two fights were pulled.
Foul rating off. That was an interesting one. So, Asanko missed weight. And then it was offered to him to do a catch weight. And Royval accepted. But it was Asanko that turned it down.
That's so weird.
So he misses weight, he gets offered something, and then he says, "Oh, actually, never mind, I didn't even want to fight."
It makes you wonder if he missed weight on purpose.
I just didn't fancy it.
He just wasn't into it.
I've missed weight. Oh, well, don't worry, listen, we'll do this instead. I'm kind of injured to you, lad, sorry.
It's like the equivalent of like Peter Griffin doing the sore knee.
Just keep asking him, mate, right, we're going to let you fight. Get up.
Missed weight, mate. I'm sorry, like the scales, you know what I mean? I missed, like, the scales say I didn't make the weight. But it's a catch weight, so it's like, no, I missed weight. I'm sorry. I don't know what the story, but then it gets funny. It gets more interesting because then apparently they then said they could rebook the fight for sometime in November. I forget the date, and he turned that down as well.
She really doesn't want to fight this boy. He's really not into it.
Like Consuela, no.
No.
We'll make it a catch weight then. No. Right, we'll date in November then. No.
No, I go home. No. I no fight in November. No. Cutting a bit long for Lemon Pledge. That's why the greatest Family Guy fucking cutscenes that there. We need more Lemon Pledge. Talking to the Justice League. Fucking genius, man. Oh, classic.
Oh dear. Right. Let's move on.
Indeed.
So we have on Friday night, UK time anyway.
UK time.
We have, I think it'll be Saturday morning for you, Harvey, possibly. But Friday night for us, we have one on Prime Video 3. So One Championship is back. And the main event, actually, worth noting, it's coming at you live and in colour from Kuala Lumpur.
Oh, aye.
Kuala
So the
Lumpur.
Axiata Arena in Kuala Lumpur. For reasons. Main event of the evening is a Bantamweight World Championship bout. So, former UFC fighter John Lineker is defending his Bantamweight title against fellow Brazilian Fabricio Andrade. So, that'll be a cracker. That's a good main event. And then there is some really good fights on the card, I've got to say. So it's a bit of a mix of stuff, as always, for one. I've got to say, One Championship is kind of becoming my favourite promotion. It's right up there with the UFC now for me. I think, not always, but like compare a generic one event to like a UFC Vegas blah de blah. I'd rather watch one. That's where we're at now.
Aye.
UFC pay-per-views tip the scales, generally speaking, just slightly. But I really enjoy what one put together. So we've got women's atomweight and men's bantam. Oh, no, that's my time. So we've got women's atomweight kicking it off. MMA. Then we've got men's bantamweight Muay Thai and flyweight Muay Thai. And then rounding off the lead card is an interesting fight. So in the last Prime Video show event, we had Mikey Musumeci, or however you say his name, becoming the first ever one grappling world champion.
Aye.
Flyweight division, I want to say. Bantamweight maybe? Whatever division it is, I'm not sure. So
Find out.
heading up the lead card is Cade Rotolo, one half of the Rotolo brothers. He's taking on Yuali Kurzev of Russia, and they are fighting for the lightweight submission grappling world championship. And I just want to say, I just want to take a second just to say that that's like must watch, just because Cade Rotolo is like, well, I suppose the two of them, the brothers, but Cade in particular, that lad is making history right now. He just, last week, I think it was, 2 weeks ago, he won the ADCC trials, the championship. He won like the Mecca, you know what I mean, the Olympics, the whatever, like the top title in submission grappling.
In submission grappling.
He's the youngest ever person to win that. He won it at 19.
Yep.
And not only did he win it at 19, he submitted every opponent en route to winning, which is like unheard of, man. There's always one or two fights or matches, whatever you want to call them, that go the distance and it's a decision win. He submitted everybody at 19. That lad is next level. So I'm very much expecting him to walk through Kurzev. I don't really know anything about Kurzev, if I'm being honest, but I don't see how he beats Cade. Cade is just on another level right now. So I'm really interested to see how that matchup goes.
I remember when I first found out about them, and I was just like, watching Instagram videos and then just watching videos of them. I'm just like, woof. The two of them are awesome, like twins. But like, Cade he's better than his brother. Like, there's no doubt, you know what I mean? But his brother is very, very good as well. So it's crazy that the two of them are like, the two of them will be at the top for a long time.
Cade is a 3-time world champion at brown belt level. He was a Pan American champion and he won a European Open something or other title as well. Like, as a fucking teenager. And now he's just won the ADCC. Like, it is ridiculous how good he is for his age. Worth noting, obviously, the two of them started at 3 years old, so they've got like 16 years of training. It's not as if they just walked into it a couple of years ago and were just naturally amazing. Like, they've worked at it for years, but still, like, at 19, he's no fully grown and filled out and developed. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like, that lad's going to be a force for years to come.
Right. So, Mikey Musumeci is a flyweight. He's one of the flyweights.
Right.
His nickname, though, is Darth Rigatoni.
Aye. Because he eats nothing but pasta and pizza.
Kind of sounds like me, effectively.
He was on Joe Rogan Experience. Any good story about him day-to-day with fighting, it's like, I remember he was once interviewed with Joe Rogan. He was on the Joe Rogan.
Joe Rogan may have spoken to him at least once.
But I know he was on Joe Rogan Experience a couple of months ago. And his diet is strange. Like, straight up strange. He has one meal a day.
What?
One meal a day.
Oh, so he does the old sort of one meal kind of big load kind of diet, right?
So he will have, in one meal, he'll have like a massive serving of pasta. It's like a four-person family serving of pasta.
Right.
And then he'll have like a full pizza and then some munchies. He'll just he'll take like 2 hours or whatever and he'll just make a ton of food and just gorge on it, and then that's him. 24 hours, so just non-stop. It's crazy, man.
I
should try that.
Wild.
I can kind of see the science behind it, by the way, because the one thing I hate when I'm exercising is having food sitting in your belly for like even an hour and a half before eating. Like, so get what you're eating by, get your digestion by, and then it's work time. Like, I kind of get what that is as far as kind of the thought behind it. For a personal, I mean, for how it works scientifically, I don't know how that's very sensible. But
I mean, the what do you call it? Intermittent fasting's quite big these days. There seems to be a lot of science.
It's all the rage in it, like the intermittent fasting kind of diets. Oh, I mean, any diet, the one it, lads, you'll find the for and against. I mean, look at bloody Jordan Peterson's daughter with the carnivore diet, saying it's curing every physical ailment and all that. Like,
yep.
It's there's always something.
Jordan Peterson himself did a meat only diet, didn't he?
Well, he does it too. I think the carnivore diet.
But with him, it was for health. I don't know. Some health reasons.
As well.
And then he was like, by doing it, his health has improved a lot or whatever. I was like, cool. I don't know if mine's would.
I'm sure that's what his daughter claims as well, is that being carnivorous only is good for her health. But
there's many out there.
Nuts.
There's many out there who put that down to the fact that they're effectively on an elimination diet. So like there would be things in their diet previously that were causing them issues, through causing inflammation in their body or allergy reactions or whatever, and by just eating meat. Like they've eliminated all the stuff that was messing them up.
Aye, which is probably more what it is, by the way, lads. Like,
but anyway,
that is probably
this isn't not a nutritional.
Aye, sorry. Peterson cast.
But I sent you
enough
a
fucking
video by
airtime,
Michael.
Okay.
Well, I didn't, not just you, in the group, because I watched it a few days ago, and it was a couple of, so it was Cade and his brother, Cade and Ty, and then, what's the Japanese dude's name again? A legend in Grappling. Anyway, doesn't matter. It was a few of them that they watched Mike and Maseki. I think that's who it is. And they talk about his fight when he bet Imanari to get the title, and you can see, when they break it down and they're just like talking about it, like, oh, see when he's doing that, Imanari thinks that he's got the upper hand, but he's not, because Mikey's doing this, and it's like they break it down proper good, man. It's really interesting.
The intelligence that the lads have, like the Rotolo brothers and Mikey, like and other guys, Bishetcha, the heavyweight.
He was he was one day. Sorry, he was.
So
he was.
There's a few of them that they like operate at a different level mentally as well as physically. Like they're playing chess with the human body. Like, they're 3, 4, 5 steps ahead of what. Like they're deliberately putting their hand or their arm or their leg or their foot or their whatever somewhere so that you react to that. So that they can do something that then you react to, so that they can do something else that then eventually sets up something.
Yep.
It's crazy, man. Anyway, moving on for the grappling. More MMA action. We have Jeremy Miado, Daniel Williams, strawweight. Then we have Kim Jae-woong, Shamil Gasanoff, featherweight. Then we're on to the Muay Thai. Now, there's a question mark here. So we've got Superlek versus Jit Mung Young, flyweight Muay Thai Grand Prix final. However, I read something about Superlek potentially being injured, so that fight might get pulled. So I don't know if then there's an alternate, because would that be in the Grand Prix final? I don't know if they postpone it or if there's an alternate that steps in for Superlek. There's nothing on the one website about that yet, but I did read something yesterday about Superlek being injured, so we shall see about that one. Then we've got the lightweight Muay Thai world title on the line. Rijan Irsel defending his title against Sinsamut Klinmi. Interesting one there. And then obviously main event, as I said, John Lineker and Fabricio Andrade for the bantamweight MMA title. So cracking net fights as always with one championship. Looking forward to it. So then we have on Saturday night from the Etihad Arena in Abu Dhabi, UFC 280. So what I want to do here is I'm going to very quickly run through the card, and then I want to do predictions from each year's for the main card fights. So the card is as follows from bottom to top. Marina Rodriguez versus Amanda Lemos, Carol Rosa versus Lena Landsberg, Malcolm Gordon versus Mohamed Mokayev, Armin Petrosian versus AJ Dobson. Love a bit of Petrosian. Abu Bakr Nurmagomedov versus Gadze Omar Gadziev. Magomed Mustafayev versus Yamato Nishikawa. Zubaraya Tukagov versus Lucas Almeida. Volkan Ozdemir versus Nikita Krylov. Mahmoud Muradov versus Caio Borrallo. Bilal Muhammad making his return versus Sean Brady. Then on to the main card, we've got Petra Yan versus Sean O'Malley. Caitlin Chukagian versus Manon Furio. Benil Dariush versus Matthias Gamrot. And then co-main event, Aljamain Sterling versus TJ Dillashaw for the bantamweight title. and Charles Oliveira versus Islam Makhachev for the lightweight title. What a card. What a night of fights that's going to be, man.
I'm buzzing. I'm fucking buzzing.
So,
absolutely buzzing.
Peter Yan versus Sean O'Malley. Who's your pick? And if you can put it in one sentence, why?
Fuck. Oh, God. I think I'll go with Sean O'Malley.
Ooh.
Just
have it A. Smith with controversy. Sugar Sean. Can you give us a why, or is it too complicated?
It's not too complicated. I think he's a very high level. His skill set is very high level in terms of striking. But I think with him being lankier, really, he can keep Peter Yan at bay, keep him guessing, just mix it up. Aye, I'm going to go with that.
Right. Paul?
Aye.
I'm going to go the opposite way. I believe Peter Yan will win. And that is just down to top level experience as to who he's been fighting recently. Nothing against Sean O'Malley. Love Sean O'Malley. I just worry that it's too big a step up too quick. Hope it isn't, though. I would love to be
sensible, logical approach for Paul.
Aye. Actually, aye.
I'm picking Sean O'Malley in that fight, and the reason I'm picking him is because of what Paul said. I think that Peter Yan,
Right.
I don't think he'll be too cocky, but I do think that he will go in there with a chip on his shoulder, thinking he's going to walk through Sean O'Malley. And I think if he overextends, overcommits on a shot, Sugar Sean's going to catch him with a straight right, and he's going to floor him. I don't think he puts him out with one shot, but I think he catches Peter Yan with something and shocks him, drops him, finishes him on the deck. That's how I envision it. But it's a really interesting matchup. It's like lose-lose for Peter Yan almost. He doesn't gain much in winning that fight. And if he loses, he loses big. Sean O'Malley, it's a no-brainer. If he loses, he can say lost to a former champion. It was a big step up, but he's going to bounce back, blah, blah, blah. But if he wins, man, he's catapulting himself into title picture. Right, Caitlin Chikagian, Manon Fiorot, what are we thinking? Harvey, I guess you're first again.
Wait, sorry. What?
Caitlin Chikagian, Manon Fiorot.
Sorry.
Oh, aye, podcast. Aye.
Who? What? What?
No,
Who?
I just, for some reason, I didn't hear the names. So I don't know. I don't really know.
Chikagian with the MMA and UFC experience, Fiorot with a striking advantage, probably.
I mean, obviously Chikagian's got more experience and stuff, but
just what Max said.
But I know, like,
right, time's against us. Make a pick.
Talking to myself. Fuck it, I'll go with Manon Fiorot for Fiorot. Whatever. Fuck, whatever, however you say it.
What in the French name?
Manon, that's who. What? Where? Aye, lassie with a French name. I'll go with her.
I'll go with the dad part. Right, Paul, who are you picking?
Right, I'm also going to go with Manon Fiorot simply because she's the form fighter going in with 9 straight wins. So you would imagine with that kind of run that potentially she extends that.
Okay, fair, logical.
That's what I'm bringing, lads.
I feel like the striking if Fiorot's going to be too much for Chikagian, but my gut says Chikagian catches her way some in the grappling. Whether it's just, eking it out decision-wise through takedowns or whether actually submitting her, I don't know. But my gut says Chikagian has too much in the grappling front.
Again, Chikagian's got more high-level experience.
So
interesting matchups.
It is an interesting fight, definitely is. Next
What
up.
Joanne Calderwood and all that.
Aye.
Sorry.
Benil Dariush, Matthias Gamrot, Harvey. Did you hear the names this time?
Aljamain Sterling, TJ Dillashaw.
He's at the wind up. He's going to be. He's at the fucking wind up.
Gamrot and Dariush.
You know it.
Literally, I don't even know. I honestly, I'm not even familiar with any of the names. Swear to God.
Damn.
Gamrot was the one that beat Sarukian last, I remember, wasn't he? And Sarukian was somebody that was maybe quite good.
Well, aye. Obviously, they've not done enough for me for him to stick in my brain, so fuck it, we'll go with Gamrot. Just because.
Okay, Paul.
Again, I'm similar to Harvey. Really, I don't really have very much knowledge of Darius going in. Gamrot did have that one against Sarukian, who was kind of seen as, I think, somebody who's potentially going to be quite good, wasn't he? Am I right in saying Sarukian? I'm going to pick Gamrot just sheerly out of better record and the fact I know him.
Right, cool. For me, Dariush has the slight striking advantage. He's got more of a technical kind of Thai boxing style. But I feel like Gamrot's the fighter that's on form. I think that, I don't know what it is, but he's got like that extra something, you know what I mean, that extra gear. So I think he'll find a way, this sort of thing. So I see him getting past Dariush.
Okay.
Co-main event, Aljamain Sterling, TJ Dillashaw, bantamweight title. Can Funky get it done, or is Dillashaw back on top? Harvey.
I think TJ Dillashaw will take this one. And I don't really have a reason, it's just something in my gut to say is that, you know, he's going to, I think he's getting made a boot him.
Stylistically, no a great matchup for Dillashaw. But he is a former champion.
I don't know. I just think Dillashaw will win.
Fair,
honestly.
Paul.
I think this is a fight that's going to ask a lot of questions about where Dillashaw is as a fighter. And I believe the answer will be that he's at the end of his career, I think. Even though it's not particularly a super long career as far as fight numbers go, I reckon Sterling will win, and will win comfortably. The big kind of absences and all the kind of recent controversy around Dillashaw will tell here, I think.
Interesting. So this one is very much grappler versus striker. Although Dillashaw comes from a wrestling background, throughout his MMA career he's moved more and more towards being a kickboxer. This I think there'll be similarities here between this and Sterling's first fight with Peter Yan. It's a question of, can Sterling use his wrestling to control the fight? Can he get his takedowns in? Can he tire TJ Dillashaw out? Or can TJ Dillashaw catch Sterling and finish him with striking? I think it'll be really hard for Dillashaw to win by decision. No impossible, especially if Sterling can't hit his takedowns, and then, you know, has to fall back on his striking. So I think for me, TJ Dillashaw gets the win.
Oh, interesting.
I think. But I think it's going to be hard, because I do think Sterling will be able to take him down a few times. So
I think
he's going to have to
dominates.
He's going to have to survive the ground game early and land more and more strikes as the fight goes on. So there will be questions asked and probably answered for both of them. And kind of to your point, Paul, I don't think TJ Dillashaw's got too long left. I think he's put like a lot of years on himself through training and weight cutting and everything else. I think his career will be kind of cut short because of that. So it's kind of do or die in a way. You know what I mean? He has to push on. He has to be the champ now, because it'll be hard. If he loses this, it'll be hard for him to fight long enough to get himself back into title fight again. But
I think we said that before when the injury happened to him. We said his career was now in a very shortened time limit. This will tell you how short.
Yep. Will definitely be interesting, though, man. Stelling is no joke. He's a really good wrestler, so it will be very interesting. Main event, right? Talking of wrestling, dear me. Main event: Charles Oliveira, Islam Makhachev. Who and why? Harvey.
I fucking no idea.
That's a good answer.
You can make arguments for either one, man.
That is a good answer. Dan Hardy.
Literally.
Dan Hardy does he does like a breakdown show with ET Sport. And he tweeted out that he said he did, I forget how many hours it was, but he spent hours watching footage of the two of these guys and making notes and putting his breakdown together for the fight, and he said that he could not pick a winner. It's a really, really interesting matchup.
I literally don't know. And usually if I don't know, like, I'll be like, oh, well, I like him. So, but I like all two of them, so I
was rooting for a draw.
Can't choose. Aye. I mean, hopefully it's not a draw.
Aye, also,
you know what I mean?
Also true.
No, one thing I'm sure of, right? I'm not sure who's going to win. I'm sure there's fucking going to be sparks flying, man, in that one. I know that much. I can't choose.
Cool. I will accept that.
I'm similar, but a bit of me does believe that this is Makhachev's crowning moment here. Right. I think you're looking at the evolution of Khabib, and Khabib training him along with the warrior culture that he lives in, because that isn't a fight team. That is a way of life that they boys have.
Yeah.
It literally is.
It is. It's a way of life. It's not just training. It is about how they live their lives, how they treat one another, treat others, treat their families, how they conduct themselves. It is just a different level for anything else in any form of combat sports, and for that reason, I think it's Makhachev that wins. But fucking hell, is he going to have to go through hell to get there with Oliveira? Because that is a warrior. I'm honestly cannot wait, lads. Can't wait. I hope that was one sentence.
For me, I see this as the final act of Charles Oliveira's biopic movie being written.
You love a movie story.
I do. I love a movie. I love a movie being played out. I feel like Makhachev makes too many mistakes still. He's like right there, man. He's so good. But Oliveira is just a lion. He's showing that like he will refuse to die in any situation. So I think he catches Makhachev with something. It's enough to get his attention, but not enough to stop the takedown. And I think Makhachev takes him down. But then I think he's compromised by whatever Oliveira catches him with. And I think Oliveira submits him for the bottom. That's my wild prediction. But my wild prediction goes one step forward.
Totally doable.
I think there's a rematch. And I think in the rematch, Makhachev brutalises him. I think this is like the final bit of
makes sense.
Evolution that Makhachev needs to go through.
Possibly.
He needs to learn a lesson here to shore up the defences and to no be wild, because sometimes he's wild with his striking. It's worked out for him in the past. I mean, he's knocked guys out by throwing wild overhand lefts, trying to reach in for takedowns, and pretty much accidentally knocking a guy out, because all he wanted to do was distract for the takedown attempt. But he's landed big shots and hurt guys. But it's loose and it's wild, and I think against a striker like Oliveira, he's going to make him pay for something like that. So I think Makhachev learns his lesson in this fight and then goes on a tear. That's my wild prediction.
Interesting. So it's going to be a cracker, though. Going to be a cracker.
The last hurrah for Oliveira. But I'm looking forward to it, man. What a weekend of fights.
Yeah.
And then, as I said earlier, Katie Taylor, I'm pretty sure it's Saturday night. Katie Taylor's boxing, so Another cracking weekend of combat sports. Very much looking forward to it. Any final thoughts, lads?
I have nothing, mate. I'm all thoughted out.
No.
Just obviously share your thoughts that it's a good weekend.
I don't rethink and no.
Right. Well, in that case, if you have been, thank you very much for listening. I've been Mick, they have been Harvey and Paul. See you again next week. Bye, driver.
Cheers, guys and gals and everybody else. Bye.